Let's take a look at Star Wars Vader's Quest. Vader's Quest is a comic I had no idea even existed until I started doing a little research because I wanted to see some Vader stories. I wanted to read some Vader because I really like Darth Vader. And I mean, Disney Star Wars isn't really giving us a whole lot of stuff. I mean, they've got plenty of Disney Star Wars comics for Vader. Maybe I'll check it out at some point. But really, I want to read into some of the older stuff before I even try that. I want to read some of the old Vader comics. I know there's a bunch. I've got them all ready to read. But this is also, I feel like, one of the first ones I wanted to read. It felt like a very simple looking story for Vader. And it's just like a good one to start out with here. Vader's Quest. And I got the collected edition here of this story. Very simple book. Like a very simple story, but it's also okay. It's a pretty good story, actually. It's not like a super insane, crazy, gigantic, insane battle type of story or whatnot. But you got some main characters in this. You got Vader, you got Luke, and you got the consequences after the Death Star and, Luke blowing up the first Death Star. And I thought it was kind of fun. I liked the Vader stuff most in this book. But there's a few extra plot lines in this that I actually, especially one focusing on a pilot, that I thought was actually, I didn't even expect it. And it was actually pretty interesting to me. It's probably the best storyline outside of Vader, of course. But Vader's Quest, it basically kicks off with Vader trying to interrogate X-Wing pilots and find the name of who blew up the Death Star. It's kind of the plot of this, is him figuring out the name. Who is this kid or person, this pilot that blew up the Death Star? Like, we need to figure that. Who is this guy? And he hears the name Skywalker from this X-Wing pilot that was tortured. And he's got like this bird-looking guy. He's got this bird-looking guy right here, like helping him interrogate for the name, and he gets the name. But then we realize once he gets the name of Skywalker from this X-Wing pilot, he doesn't want anyone to hear it. Throughout this book, he makes certain that no one's gonna know or remember the name Skywalker. You're not gonna hear it. Nobody needs to know about it. Skywalker is not something I need anyone to hear about. So he kills everyone in his area that heard the name, is even familiar and aware of the name Skywalker being mentioned. There's even a bunch of birds like in a little dome area that start like copying and saying the name Skywalker because they're like copy birds or whatever, and they're repeating the name Skywalker after the bird guy even said it, and he kills them as well. So he kills everyone that utters Skywalker, and that's kind of now his big mission here, is to find this one last bounty hunter and these last few people that are aware of the name. I mean, in this book, Vader is quite a menace. Okay, this is like, it's a very simple book. I say simple, not in a bad way really either. It's just not like a grand, insane story. It's a very quick, like, one and done little story here of Vader trying to discover a little bit more about Luke Skywalker. But we have this like bit with Vader, literally, you see him killing everyone on that planet that he was on, and he's just cutting down like this brother and sister, or whoever they were. I don't know if they were family or whatnot, but he's just cutting them down, doesn't give a shit at all. I love that. I think it's awesome. It's good to see Vader just being Vader. And I just thought that stuff was awesome. And I'm glad Vader was pretty brutal and ruthless in this, especially because I kind of went into it just kind of like expecting it to be kind of simple. But we got some cool, really, really cool, awesome moments with Vader. Now, we did get a plot line with this person right here, Mala. It's a bounty hunter who's been like crippled. She's been burned badly, and she no longer is, I don't know if she can walk or not, but she walks around with a droid of hers who actually like is a droid. It talks to her and everything, and she like walks around in the droid, and that's kind of like how she starts out the book, and then she has another droid later. It's basically a big mission for her to get this information to Emperor Palpatine. I'm gonna go utter the name Skywalker to Palpatine so that I could maybe get something out of it, because she's a bounty hunter. So she's not really like loyal to the rebellion or the Empire. She's a bounty hunter. That's been established, at least in this book. So she is on a mission to basically get away from Vader so she can go, and she ends up telling Palpatine at the end. Now, there's multiple plots with Luke and this X-Wing guy right here. I don't remember his name. Jal something. He's an X-Wing pilot in the rebellion who is jealous that Luke is the one who did it. He is the one who blew up the Death Star, not him. This guy is quite a handful in the beginning of the book, but later on he kind of goes through this journey of, you know, rediscovery, that he's meant for more, and he doesn't have to feel this way about Luke and feel all jealous that Luke is the one who ended up doing this. He goes on a journey realizing again why he's even in the rebellion to begin with, not for him necessarily, but, you know, for the rebellion, the people in general. He goes off to this, you know, one planet with like these green people, and there's people that die, and he kind of like gets an awakening again. It's like, oh shit, this is who I'm fighting. I'm fighting the Empire. This is what matters. I need to deal with this. So at the end, he does end up helping Luke and stuff again, and I thought that was actually the best like other story in the book. Outside of, you know, you got Mala Mala, you got the Luke stuff. Outside of Vader, which is the best part of it, I think he was actually the most interesting part of the book, which was fascinating to me because I had no idea he was even in this. I didn't even know who he was. So I thought that was pretty cool. Let's get to Luke. Luke Skywalker is in this book, and I didn't care for the story really at all. It's a weird story. He's going off to some planet to try and make, you know, amends, or, you know, he's trying to win over this group of this like society on a planet that is serving with the Empire, and he's trying to get them to join the rebellion and be, you know, allied with the rebellion or something. And the leader eventually ends up betraying him and tries to have him killed for Vader. Vader comes in and tries to take him and stuff, and it was a really weird plot line. You had this whole like princess thing where he had to go like save a princess from these bandits or whatnot, and in reality like she was like the good one, and her father ended up being the guy who was misguided, and he ended up turning on Luke. I didn't care for the story. It was kind of boring and weird to me. He ends up going into a cave, gets blinded for a little bit by these weird crystals in the cave, because he ignited his lightsaber in there while he's trying to save the princess. It was strange. It was really strange, but it all kind of came together at the end with Vader, with Jaal as well, where Jaal ends up meeting back up with Luke, and Jaal decides he's going to save Luke. While they're at the end of the book, Vader does end up finding them and confronting them, and what ends up happening is Jaal manages to get to his X-Wing, which is like right off in the side room there that they're in. And he flies off and goes and, like, I would assume crashes right into like the hangar bay of the Imperial Interdictor cruiser or whatever it is called, the one that like rips people out of hyperspace. He crashes into the hangar bay and like blows the thing up and, you know, sacrifices himself, and it makes Luke all really sad and stuff. And I thought that was kind of like a cool little quick wrap up to this little like new character that just kind of came and went for this little story here. Not a significant character really in any way, but I think he was the best story of the hero side, I guess you could say, for this book, and it was kind of interesting. But the Luke stuff, I mean, it was okay. It was kind of fine at the beginning with Wedge and stuff at the base. At the very end, you know, seeing Vader, confronting Vader a little bit. So they did come face to face a little bit here, Luke and Vader in this book. When it comes to the ending is probably my least favorite bit of the book. Not the end with Palpatine and Mala Mala, which I will get to, but it's the end with Vader and how he ends up dealing with the people that he is cornered. You know, he's going to come in, stop them. He's going to take Luke and get away. Darth Vader. You cannot convince me that Darth Vader and all these like random citizens on this planet of his that he's on right here, you cannot convince me that he could not just wipe them all out right then and there. He can easily wipe all these people out because they were ready to fight him. You know, they were surrounding him. He's like, oh my God. He can easily take them out. So there is a line uttered. So I don't know if, like, you know, it was just him holding back because he, you know, didn't feel the need to do it right now. This guy right here is like, we could have ended it. We could have stopped Lord Vader. And she's like, not for a moment. After the guy's like, oh, we had Vader in our power. So perhaps it is Vader just like, you know what? I'm not going to do this right now. And then he walks away from Luke Skywalker right there. That I don't like that. I understand that it could be like Vader, you know, be like, okay, you know what? I'm not gonna go through this trouble right now. I know I can easily deal with these people. They're not really a threat to me, but I can deal with these people. There's Skywalker right there, though. He could easily grabbed Luke and gone. So I did think it was weird that he walked away from that, but because of the, you know, the plot of the story, obviously he's not going to get Luke there because it has to fit in some way. Now I don't know how canon this was even to Legends or the EU. I just know it was like a little story that was there that is Legends, and Again, I don't know how significant the story was to the overall like universe really, but it was him about finding the name of Skywalker. I thought it was interesting. In the end of the book, it's Mala Mala basically getting to Palpatine and getting some spare parts for more droids because she wants to rebuild some of her droids that got destroyed on the way there. And he lets her live as she goes off to do whatever, live her life. And Palpatine is then aware of the name Skywalker, and I'm assuming that's kind of like how he kind of like knows when he tells Vader in The Empire Strikes Back that he knows that it's Skywalker, and he knows the boy, the offspring of Anakin Skywalker. But the thing is, in this book, Vader also knows that it's Skywalker. He already knows in this book. And in The Empire Strikes Back, I mean, at least it's shown to us that Vader's learning for the first time from the Emperor. But I suppose in a way it's kind of hard not to know that it was Luke Skywalker that did it. It's going to get out, and him trying to kind of keep it secret is kind of weird. He does try to keep it secret from Palpatine, and you get that like dynamic in this book with Palpatine and Vader, where it's like they're kind of they're a very quiet feud between each other. Those two, they don't like each other. They may have that respect, master and apprentice. But Palpatine and Vader, they do not like each other. They do not like each other, and you can always tell with these types of interactions between those two. But yeah, he keeps it hidden from Palpatine that he knows the name Skywalker, and it doesn't seem that Palpatine really believes him. But that's obviously kind of where the story ends, and it ends up being the reveal later in Empire Strikes Back, and he tells Vader. I mean, I thought it was a fun little story. It doesn't feel too significant, but it is an interesting little tie-in to trying to figure out who the Death Star was blown up by. I'm sure it's been told multiple times elsewhere by now, trying to figure out the name and who did it. But I thought it was an okay story. I did. It wasn't groundbreaking, though. It wasn't like insanely amazing. I didn't come away from it being like, wow, that was the best thing I've ever read. But I did enjoy quite a bit of it, and I was actually surprised more with Vader in this. I was surprised that they, that brutality with Vader that you would hope and expect is still there. Of course, they didn't kind of like tone him down in any way, which I liked. Some of the hero plot lines, the Luke one especially, was not really my thing, but I did like the pilot, the Jaal pilot guy who was on his own little journey. I did like that. Overall, it's a good little read. It really is. I mean, I don't know if it's necessary, really. It's not like a super important story, I don't think, but it is a fun little read if you want to really get a Vader story in, and even a little bit of a Luke one, and just kind of like an early kind of, it's like an early Star Wars feeling. You got Luke, who's not like really a full-fledged Jedi or anything yet, but he's also just kind of becoming aware of this whole like rebellion and empire conflict in the worlds that are involved and stuff, and that's kind of where we're at here in this story. And it's just it's almost like the beginning though of the downfall of Vader too, because it's like Skywalker's in the picture, this kid, and that's kind of the whole story of the original trilogy. Is Vader now has this son out there trying to stop him, and that's kind of how the original trilogy goes. So that is Star Wars Vader's Quest. That's my thoughts on it. That's my feelings. I thought it was good. I think it's definitely worth getting if you just really want to get every Vader story you possibly can. It's definitely a good story for Vader specifically, so if you want to get it. He's not in it nearly as much as I would have hoped, but the moments he is in it, it's pretty good. That's Star Wars Vader's Quest. It's a bit of an older story, but I thought, you know what? I'll talk about it. I want to talk about it. I just got it. First time reading it. Hey, you know what? I thought it was pretty cool.